Reese. Hello, Reese. David, hello. Looks like the rest of us are not available. Yeah, David, I was hoping for that, but you know, we have an expression where I was born. It says, a year that is gonna be good, it's gonna show it from the springtime. In other words, if the spring of the year is not really that, you know, something to write home about, then the year is gonna be obviously not gonna be that. So while we're all hoping for what you said, but look, it's been 2 minutes and we only have 3 of us here versus sometimes that in 10 seconds we have got, wow. Hello, Mika, how are you? Yes, you made it. It must be what, 3:30 in Florida or something like that, is it? Yeah, it must be 3:36 or something. So are you not working today or studying? What happened that you're available? Yeah, Excalibur is fast asleep, I guess. 2:36 in Dallas. Yes, Dallas is like 2 hours ahead of us here. Well, I guess Excalibur is still working. What is it? 9:30 in Spain. Multitasking. Okay, good. But you got your earphones on, or how is it done? You walking around with the earphones? What do you do, Mika? I forgot. Or did you tell us? It's a nice sunny day here. Not hot, just nice and sunny with breeze, and it's very pleasant. I've been meaning to go to this favorite place, favorite horse breeding place that I used to train a long time ago. And every day something comes up and I haven't been able to go and see people I know there and just enjoy being around horses. And sometimes it's kind of lazy to just drive and go there, and often the weather, maybe it's raining or sometimes it just doesn't happen, the clients and things. Mika says, I'm a paralegal for the state attorney office. I handle criminal appeals cases. Ah, I see. Well, that's a critical job. and seems like you're enjoying it and you're good at it, as we talked last time. And while you're still getting your going for your bar exam, is that what your studies are in university, in law? You're studying law, or that was a different subject that you were preparing for exams? And David says, you caught me in the middle of algebra practice. Oh, really? Wow. A2 plus B2 equal what? A2 plus B2 equal what? BC2? What was it? I forgot. I forgot everything. I used to be pretty good in algebra, actually. That was a formula it always was useful for most of the algebra problems that we would be practicing in class, but the triangle thing, forgot all about it. But I did remember it all when I was going through it, you know, when we would study together, my son and I, when he was going through high school a long time ago. And I reminded myself, because I had to restudy everything when I wanted to share, you know, practice with my son when he was doing his homeworks. So I had to remind myself, so I had to redo all those and learn. But again, I forgot now. And Alexandra says, hi, dear Mehran. Hello, dear. Yeah, I know. You shouldn't, David. You shouldn't. But you know what? I'm resourceful. I'll find out the answer. It just takes me a bit to look at the formulas, and then I know. Because the formula is one thing, but knowing where to use which formula and in what sequence, and then after that, what you can do with that result of that formula is really what's all about. Otherwise, knowing the formula itself is one thing, but knowing where you want to go using the knowledge, the result of the calculation through that formula is really where it was at, I think. So, so guys, it looks like we have enough people to start a conversation. I'll be here with you guys for a bit time, maybe an hour, if we have enough questions. What do you think one of the challenges that faces the world or individuals is it the same as years back, or is it changed? What do you think is the main challenge, or one of the main challenges? There's so many. Do you think people are clearly aware of how they're put together? Are they negotiating life with their entire abilities, a full awareness of what they are, what their potentials are, what their connection to nature is, and how they tick? Or are they negotiating life through physical form only, like they're only aware of their physical existence, and they negotiate everything physically, what they see, what they touch, what they physically are involved in doing, what gives them pleasure physically, eating, emotions of through physical connections or intimacy, pleasures that they receive physically, and that has made them even more and more focused on sensing their physical part of the entity that they are, and as if they are totally oblivious to that there is a bigger part to them, like the iceberg. Everybody sees the tip of the iceberg sticking out of the ocean and they say, wow. But they're oblivious to the fact, or they don't right away see it, just as the tip of the iceberg is apparent to them, that this thing has hundreds of times bigger mass and presence underneath the ocean, which is not visible. Which, similarly to us, everybody is so focused on their physical appearance, how they look, what their size is, what their physical abilities are, the sports they're into, what they eat, the pleasure they receive through physical being, and they're totally ignoring, or rather not focusing on developing their other side, which actually is detrimental for their physical function and existence as well, which is their mind, their energy, their connection with the whole entirety of this whole system of life, the nature. And I think that would be something that you guys perhaps can throw in your questions or points of views and your thoughts. Mika says, challenges are always the same. I think we are always trying to find happiness. But when you say we're trying to find happiness, why do we have to try to find happiness? Why is happiness somewhere out there that we should try to find it, rather than by knowing ourselves and understanding the priorities of life, happiness would be there by default? Why are we conditioned to think that happiness is linked to some thing from out there, and what is in there and our connection and existence with, and sharing this whole space in the universe is not enough to be happy? We have to look for a reason to be happy. We got to have an excuse to live. We got to have an excuse to be happy. Why is it that we have come to be like that? Hello, Robert. Hello, dear. Buongiorno or buonasera. Probably it's nighttime there. David says, I suspect perhaps it's the globalization of the world and respecting other people's belief and cultures. So in that way, you're saying that some belief and some culture is right and preferred, but some other cultures and beliefs are not, and that's why they interfere with somebody else's beliefs and cultures, and therefore the problems that we are facing comes up. Or should we not, don't you think we should perhaps focus and discuss the actual cultures and beliefs of any kind, as far as in the form that we're talking about, these cultures and beliefs, not that because it's globalization and they interfere with each other. What about the actual concept of culture and beliefs that causes human beings to be short-sighted? While we think cultures and beliefs are there for you to seek refuge and join that culture or belief in order to feel psychologically secure, to become part of a group, part of a belief, therefore enjoy the bosom of that belief and culture, and then feel you're not alone, you're part of a group, and then psychologically feel secure. But isn't that exactly the reason that why then you lose that psychological security that you're in pursuit of? Because when you join a group, in order to feel safe, then you have to abide by the certain rules of that group, which if you speak against it, you'll be cut off from the group. So the whole psychological security that you were seeking by joining that group is now in danger, and you should now again comply to something that is creating a division in you internally, when you compare what they're saying and what you should do versus what is right and what you think it should be done. But you want to be part of them, and if you're not complying, you'll be out of it. So in order to have that elusive psychological security by joining that group, you're now again part of something that is not free, is limiting you. What do you think? David says, I don't think most people search for something deeper within themselves. I think most people turn to religion where they seek something outside of themselves, like God. Yes. Why? Where is God come from? Where are these needs come from? Robert says, press like icon. Let the algorithm do this job. Thank you, Robert, for reminding. Ayush says, hi, Mehran. I'm from India, 23 years old. What is the difference between love and lust, and how to control my emotion towards girl? All right, we'll talk about that. Right now, we're in the middle of some kind of a discussion about why we are not aware of our totality, of our full potentials, and how the entirety of our existence is. Why are we so negotiating life only with the physical part of ours, and only aware of that through pleasures, physical pleasures, what we see, what we touch, what we feel, what we eat, and totally ignoring, in most parts, our abilities beyond the physical parts of our entity existence. David says, true. It's strange to realize how much of our beliefs are shaped by upbringing and culture, and how it affects us without realizing it. And so, why is that, do you think? Why are we not free from cultures that limit us all, corrals us to the certain narrow point of view, and makes us actually believe that culture is the way it should be, shapes us, forms us, or that belief, a religious belief, cultural belief, customs? Why do we join customs and cultures and religions and so on? Where did it come from? I mean, how did it start? I'm not talking about the ones who are prophets of a religion. I'm talking about where was the need that everybody gathered around a certain culture or certain customs or religions? What happened? Robert says, sometimes it reminds me of the movie Matrix. Yeah. Everything has become physical. Yeah? We negotiate life through physical point of references. Where we go, what car we drive, what physical pleasures we receive. So really looks like everything we do and everything we join is so we can have certain kind of a psychological security, or see if we can arrive to that through that action, function, through that achievement, through that joining a certain club or certain society, or through sex, pleasure. Do we understand the purpose of life? Or are we just simply going through, see how much pleasure we can get today? Can we go further than that? Yes, Ayush, I heard, I saw your question, but I also mentioned that we are discussing something right now. We're not finished with that, so join the discussion, and then we'll eventually, you know, most of the questions that you have, Ayush, it's answered in all the videos, about 1,000 videos that we have, and we discussed it yesterday, I think, in detail. And you need to focus on the answers that was given, rather than you keep focusing on your questions and your desires. You need to digest the answers that was given to you, rather than keep looping around what you want, rather than trying to do something about it to understand why you want that and why you shouldn't want it, and why it's okay to go on and focus on other things that are available. Maybe we'll get to that if we have some time here, but we are trying to have a conversation about a different topic that perhaps you want to join in. David says, I suppose it came from wanting to fit in and a feeling of wanting to be a part of something bigger than oneself. I think one day we can go further than that, but not soon. Mika says, I can personally say I do not understand the purpose of my life yet. I'm trying to figure that out. Robert says, it seems like nowadays, our need to satisfy our desire immediately blinds us from the rest. It's true, Mehran. We go for the tip of the iceberg, while under the surface is more to discover. Why is it that we look at life so individualistic now more than ever? You know, we have advanced in many ways since thousands of years ago. Indoor plumbings, comforts, products, food. So the priorities actually changed as we advanced, but always remained the same in some area. In other words, at one point the priority was security, right? Survival. Find something to eat. That was like thousands of years ago. Then once we had a way to find something to eat, through which we've found necessity for personal, physical security. Because the food part, we kind of understood what to eat, how to hunt and stuff like that. But then there were others who would come to our little place and steal our, I don't know, chicken or baby dinosaur. Or take the women of that unit. And then these people would go and try to steal their stuff and do the same. And then one of them decided, okay, now for me to be able to protect myself physically or steal more, or not to be able to be, to be able to be more successful in getting what I want by going there, stealing or killing or whatnot, I gotta be more than what I am. I gotta be two. So it gathers around and discusses it, and they're now two attacking the other side. And this other side will say, well, gee, I gotta be two, but let's wait. Maybe I should be three. So they become three, and these guys become three, and then they become four. And as they try to create that security that they feel they need, the destruction power goes higher, because before they were one, they could only do so much damage to each other. Now they're two each side, and then three, and then four, and then suddenly they're a group at each other's throat. So the mere fact of seeking security brought about insecurity. In a way, if you look at it through. Because they become more powerful. The destruction power became more. So you had to become more and bigger. And the bigger you got, the bigger threat you had on the other one and the other one and this one. And to the point that we are here. So much weaponries and ways of destruction. It's all been created in the name of security. Which starts 1,000 years ago. But we're still the same savages. We have comforts and products and, homes and all these things. But we're still the same savages. Before, we used to kill by swords, stones, and then swords. And now we kill differently with different weaponries. So mentality, the one that we actually were talking earlier, is not noticed in us. We're only focused on our physical ability, physical appearance, physical what we have, pleasures through physical interactions. That was apparent, but the mentality part of us, the mind part of our existence, wasn't focused on to be developed. That's why even today, as civilized it looks like we are, or advanced technologically we are, we're still not advanced in the mental part. That's why we still have the same savagery, same mentality of looking at life, looking at each other, and finding that my security is in threatening you, which we have lost the total whole understanding concept of life and harmony with nature and harmony in life. We are trying to create psychological security and security through destruction of the other side. Everybody thinks that me is important, not me is the whole world. Like everybody thinks we're separate while we're all in many ways the same. What we're trying to create for ourselves, we're not trying to create for the others. We're only concerned about me thinking me can make the life, can make the nature, can continue life as it is if it's only me or my way. Not realizing that the way that things can work actually like it works in nature is by being so different. Being civilized and not harming each other, abiding by certain rules, is different than trying to make everybody the same. If everything in the nature, all the plants were the same, we wouldn't have peaches and apples and this and that. Everything would be the same, all apples, all peaches, all pears, or this kind of tree only. But each have certain values, and each herb has certain goodness. So the diversity of the whole world is very important, while we are trying so hard to make the whole world exactly the same, like a cookie cutter. which means we are really neglecting the understanding of the role of our mind and the energy into this whole experience of life. And instead we are experiencing life all through physical means and looking at it from this very narrow angle. David says, funny you should bring that up. I just read where in Chile, a country where an importance on family and togetherness was emphasized, and now with individualism, there's a problem with depression there. Daniel, it's a new name. Daniel, have you been here before with us? Daniel says, well, today we're all about actualizing innate potentials. We are taught that we can become anything and be whatever we want to be. Problem, we are acting entitled, as if we deserve nothing but the best. We derive less and less security from the community. We expect to be kept secure no matter what. And the question is, what is that security from? What are we trying to be secure from? Because reasonably, in most cases, in most countries, security is pretty good. Like, people are not necessarily, although nothing close to what it should be, but people are not necessarily killing each other in the streets or at each other's throat all the time, although they still are in every country. So what are we trying to be secure, and how successful have we been in that, what you just called, noted, the security that we are all thinking we deserve it and we are striving for? What kind of security? Is security only limited to this what? Right now most countries have security. So what is it that we still feel insecure? I mean, we can all attest that most countries are safe. People travel around the world, everybody is, pretty much getting along, but we still have other elements. Yes, I understand that, we have to be secure. That's part is pretty much taken care of. But what else is out there that we're trying to seek security for? What is it that we are aiming, hoping to achieve every day by joining this group, joining that group, becoming part of this syndicate, part of that association? What's the purpose of all these joining? Isn't it because we think by joining a group we become psychologically secure, physically secure, psychologically secure, but then these groups create certain rules internally, then you have to listen to what their rules and laws are, and you have to be quiet, not saying anything against them, otherwise you're out of the group, which you wanted to be in there to be secure. So physically maybe you're secure, you feel confident because you're part of the group and they have facilities. If you're a professional, let's say you're a lawyer, or you're a doctor, you have associations, so they have lawyers, they have legal teams to help you with your, protect you from anything. But then you can't say anything against them either, because then you'll be out. So the fact that you join to be secure, it also brings you that feeling of insecurity against the freedom that you have, internal freedom of mind that you could have. So you've actually traded part of your freedom in order to get a different kind of freedom or security that you feel you're actually getting. No? What do you think? What do you guys think? David says, true, but back in the day, if you didn't fit into a culture that could be life-threatening, Perhaps we still have that built-in fear. Yeah, it's like a conditioning that you have received, that you gotta comply with these, otherwise. And that conditioning actually, even the reasons for it may not be in existence somewhere, but the conditioning still is, so you're still acting as a default, as if it was still that necessary as it was before. Like before, if you were part of a group or a culture or custom, if you didn't abide by it, what, they would burn you or kill you. Or if you weren't part of this religion or that religion, they would kill you. Now today, a little different, but still same conditioning by default makes you to seek that and comply with certain things, even though in different levels, but still the actual need of it may not exist for that kind of a security that it was being pursued before, but the default of the conditioning of your consciousness is still moves you toward thinking that you should comply, you should be part of this group, you should do this and do that, because if you don't, there could be repercussions. It's kind of traveled with you through the centuries or through the generations to think that way. And unless we come to think about it, that the mere pursuing psychological security is exactly the reason that we would not have that psychological security. The fact that you join groups in order to be secure, but that joining the group, it still makes the groups against each other, and at the same time you become complacent to the rules of that group which you join to be free, yet that limits you and conforms you into something that you didn't even think that that's where you want to be. Robert says, I was used to live and work in Iceland. They don't even have any army. Salam, Amina. How are you? The African woman says, Salam Mehran, Salam Amina Jan. How are you, dear? We have deviated a little bit from our usual topics of discussions today. We are focusing on why are we not aware of the other part of our entity, as we know our entity is made out of mind and body, and why is it that we try to focus and experience life physically, by body, physical contacts, physical pleasures, how we look, what we have, rather than also developing and expanding on our knowledge about our mind and connection with the energy of the universe. Why are we neglecting that? Why do we think that the tip of the iceberg is the whole of the iceberg, and not focusing on the actuality and reality of the fact that we are mind and body, and the tip of the iceberg is our body, and the biggest portion of the iceberg, which is not visible, is our mind, but we become oblivious to it, and we go through life without actually using it or trying to develop it or understanding or acknowledging it. And we're constantly through pursuing physical securities, and we don't understand that beside physical security there is psychological security, and we don't know which is most important. We don't talk about it, not in schools, anywhere. Which one is more important? Amina says, internet is so bad today, I'll not be able to join in. Horrible weather. And well, flooding in Kenya. Oh, really? Ah, sorry to hear that. I wonder if I do the live talks on the Facebook once in a while. Are you guys all? Have you guys signed up with my Facebook page? Are you guys? Have you gone on the page and liked it? Do you know about it? maybe it would be a good idea if you guys also check out the Facebook page. I can open it. And you can see the post there, and also if there is, when there's a live talk, you can see it there if you go there on it regularly. Just also there are other things that I upload there, some of the videos that I think it's helpful from time to time. I choose. This would be the page. Let's see. There we go. Okay, got it. There. And now let's see what I've missed here. So Ayush says, sir, your live streaming topic is how to move on. Can you please say something? Ayush, you are just joining us after 162 live talks, which was all about relationships and breakup and so on. Today, we like to talk a little bit about a different subject, since almost everybody here has been on live talk every day, and we just have a short discussion today. So we will talk about that maybe after we finish this discussion, and maybe next time we'll be again back to our regular topics of breakups and how to move on. In the meantime, if you're looking for some specific discussions on that, as you know, there's over 1,000 videos now on the channel. So you can write in what your question is, and the certain videos will come up. Because I remember yesterday you had many questions and we discussed it, but today you seem to have the same questions. So I want to ask you to focus on the stuff that we talked about before and digest them, and also use the videos that are on the channel. And so today we can have a little bit of a break and diverse in different little topics for a few minutes, and be patient. So we'll get there as well. If you go on the channel, and there is a playlist called How to Move On, you have a number of videos there that you can choose if we are discussing something else here, until we'll get to that as well. So David says, I have, but I've never been able to catch you live there. You know, David, I used to have it all on Facebook, but then when I learned how to do the YouTube thingy, it became more convenient. And on Facebook, it was much bigger sessions, like we had, I don't know, 100, 200 people at a time. I may have to go back in there, but it's just done on the small cell phone. A little bit hard to see everything's written there. Robert says, honestly, I do not have a Facebook account. Good for you. My social media life is very minimal. Aha. Okay, so let's see what is Ayush's challenge today. Go ahead, Ayush. Ask your question. He is very impatient today. The very topic that we were discussing, this is for Ayush or whoever else would be watching this upload later on, the very topic of divisions and conflict, the very concept of division and conflict is the reason for all these breakups, not being able to move on. The topic that we were discussing about psychological security, these are all the roots of what you're going through right now, because from there then we can expand amazingly to see what parts of our lives, this whole concept of understanding how we tick, how we are put together, affects. And not understanding yourself, the inwardly, you cannot understand how you react or interact or respond to the outside relationship or outer effects of things towards you, people and so on. You got to understand yourself. So when we discuss these things, it's about understanding ourselves. And unless you understand yourself, Ayush, you cannot understand why you feel the way you feel towards your ex-girlfriend, toward your relationship. What is it that makes you feel sad? Why are you sad? What does it have to do with your thoughts, consciousness, which is formed through your customs, religions, and seeking psychological security and security? All these conversations that we're having, it helps you to know yourself better, which then helps you to understand how better you can interact and negotiate the challenges that you come faced with. Considering your fears, desire, and ego, thoughts and consciousness, all of that is why you feel the way you feel, act and react in everything, including your relationships and the pain that you're going through, the fact that you can't move on. But first you got to understand, where is it all coming from? Coming from here. And our discussion has, in fact, may not seem like it right away, recognizable, but in fact is the roots of exactly why and how you're feeling and acting and reacting and trying to find solutions in your challenges, including your relationships and how you feel. EJ says, finally I woke up early and able to join. Hello. Hello, EJ, female 29 Seoul. You know, I remember we in university we had we were a bunch of friends, and one of us, his girlfriend was a very nice girl from Korea, and we would try to see which word means what in different languages, and she picked up the word the word Chetori in Farsi. Chetori means how are you, what's up, how you doing. It's slang for students, for young kids. And she said Chetori in Korean means ashtray. So I thought it was funny. So EJ, Chetori, but not in Korean, in Farsi, meaning how are you? Sunny says, qualities that I am looking for, However, I don't feel too much excitement towards her. I'm being too picky. Oh, I guess I missed some questions up here. Sunny says, hi Mehran, male 30, Ontario. Oh my goodness, Ontario, jubilation, Canadian. Finally, we got just one or two people once in a while from Canada, which is supposed to be where this YouTube channel should be more localized. But I guess we are more sought after in Europe and other places, United States and so on. But anyhow, glad that we see a fellow Canadian here as well. Says, hi Mehran, male 30, Ontario. My question is, how do I know the difference between if I am being too picky or settling when I meet a girl? I'm currently dating a girl that has all the great qualities. Yeah, okay, but what are those great qualities that you think they're great qualities? In other words, on what basis you think those qualities are great? Perhaps you have other additions here. It says qualities that I'm looking for. However, I don't feel too much excitement towards her. Am I being too picky? Now, what kind of excitement? Are you talking about you're not excited because she's not pretty enough, like the way you hoped your girlfriend or the one and only or the one that you're going to end up with would be? Because often most of us, when we meet a girl or disqualify that woman, is because we constantly think that's any woman that you meet and you want to be in a relationship, you look at her, if that's the woman you want to marry, and then you disqualify her because you think, oh, that's not as perfect as I wanted. It's not exactly as I wanted. But if you just stop having an agenda and just focus on who she is, what this relationship quality could be, and then you explore that as it is without having a preconception, a blueprint in your mind that this person that doesn't fit into it, and disqualifying the whole possibility of this relationship, which could have turned out to be perfect. Why? Because most of the qualities that you're looking for is not visible. And if you're focusing and deciding on if this girl is right or wrong based on even not quite knowing that you're doing this, based on how she looks and all the physical qualities, that from that you derive the other qualities that you're hoping she would have, but you base if she has those qualities that you're looking for or not on how physically she looks, and you take your clues and cues from her physical appearance, and then you translate it for yourself into the stuff that you're looking in her, which are not physical. So you're getting all your clues, if she has all the non-physical characteristics that you're looking for, from her physical characteristics. You're communicating with her physically, you're hoping to arrive to a non-physical information that you're looking for. Is that why you think you're not that excited? Because she's not pretty enough or doesn't meet your physical requirements, and that hence makes you think that she's not meeting your non-physical requirements, which is the most important one, pretty much, or very important anyhow. And you're disqualifying her because of that. You think you're not excited about her character or something about her, but really you're not physically excited as you expected it to be with the one that you want to end up, because that's how probably that's the lens you've got on. You're looking at her as a candidate for someone that you want to go all out and be in love and so on, and think that's the perfect one, which would bring you that level of accomplishment. So are you thinking she's not? Let's see what else you have here. Sonny says, she's attractive to me and has her life in order and treats me well. It may be a case of not wanting to be part of a club that accepts me, as you always said. Oh, so you've been participating in some of our live talks, which I didn't remember your name. Well, I'm glad that you did. Yeah, it could be very much, because it is like trying to climb a mountain with a bunch of friends, and you go through lots of things through the path. Eventually you get up there, let's say a difficult hike. You get up there, and then with all that excitement that you have through the way to the summit, when you get to the summit, a few seconds later you say, now what? Wasn't a big deal. Because the excitement is on the way to achieve something. But when you achieve it, you forget about all the excitement that it could have had maybe, or it had through the path that it took you to get to that destination. In other words, in translating it to your relationship, now that she's so nice to you, now that she's attractive, she's got her life together, which are part of the criteria that you've always been looking for. But now that you've attained them and you have them, they're so easily been handed to you on silver platter in a way, because she hasn't made a fuss. You didn't have to go through hell and heaven to get her, to get exactly the same thing that you're having now. But you're not appreciating it because you didn't have that difficulty of negotiating that terrain to get to her. It was all perfect. Like, she's all good, she's kind, attentive, educated, she has a good lifestyle, she's pretty, but it was also easy for you to get it. Now that you got it, you're not treating it with the respect that it deserves as something that you always wanted, because you have it now. Often people try to give value to the things that they don't have. But when they have it, it's the same thing that they didn't have and they wanted it. But now that they have it, it loses interest. Why? Because you always have this condition to think, I want more. It's not enough. But the more that you want in a relationship should be based on the non-physical parts, that is an ocean of opportunities by itself. Getting to know each other's consciousnesses. Helping and cooperating in dealing with challenges in life. Life has got lots of shit that's going to come to you, and you need someone who can be steady at the helm in the ship that you're trying to negotiate the oceans and the waves with. So for that, you need to bond and know about each other's consciousness a lot, which is that's where the connection really takes place, and the vast surprises and excitements and the challenges and harmony that you're looking for is there. But the physical entity part that you connect your relationship with, its connection is so limited, because what? The enjoyment, the pleasure that you get physically is eventually going to be known pretty much all about it. You meet, you hold hands, you hug, you kiss, you touch, you make love, and make love in different ways. And eventually, where else is it gonna go? And that's where the couples think there's something wrong with the relationship, because they can't further that physical excitement anymore, because there is every physical relationship that you may think of will have its end. You can't go further than certain levels, because there's nothing more in there. After you learn how many different ways you can make love to each other, then what then? So eventually there's an end to that pleasure, or that unknown, or that excitement that you will receive through physical interaction. In every kinds of a woman that you will meet, every kind of girlfriend that you may end up with. And that's when people think, well, our relationship is not working anymore. And they change. The girl goes to another guy, and the guy goes to another girl, and they think it will be different. But when, again, it will get to the same point, the physical excitement always runs out, unless you have opened the world of excitement which exists in your consciousnesses, in the way to know each other, in the way to interact, communicate, face challenges, find solutions, and become a swimmer in each other's oceans. And that ocean is so big that you can never really pretty much have an opportunity to swim all corners of this ocean. It'll always be something new and possibilities. And that's when you can see that the relationship actually did not have to end, if both sides really are interested in each other's consciousness. The relationship should end when the consciousnesses are not compatible, or they're not willing or interested to get to know about each other's consciousness. That's fine. But if it's ended because you have arrived to that level of plateau of the physical pleasure and physical compatibility, or physical knowledge about each other's, how you do things and you interact with each other physically, well, when you come to the end of that, then there is nothing else there. That's when you think, what else is there? You start questioning the relationship instead of questioning, how far do you know her? Do you know her at all? You never ask, because what you think you know her and how you go about knowing her and her knowing you, the two couples, whatever your relationship is all through physical connection. How you go about to get to know her is all through physical connection. And that's why, perhaps, I'm not sure, that's why many girls constantly go buy this and buy that and buy this and this earring and that bracelet and this shoes and that handbag and that dress, because they're under the pressure and they don't know how to expand this relationship. They want to look more. The only way they think they can look more and be more is by getting this moreness from things, products, physical things again. And they think that will enhance their understanding of who they are and if they're more or not through that, rather than understanding their own consciousness. What makes them to be more is the knowledge about themselves, knowledge about how they tick, what is the role of their thoughts and consciousness, how do they act and react with each other, the fear, desire, and ego, what is the role of that those things in their being, in how they act, how they function, how they feel, how they can elevate themselves, how they see the world, how they negotiate life. So this idea of trying to be more but not recognizing how you can be more is through your psyche, and only focusing on that you want to be more through your physical entity and existence. And then you hit the plateau, and many people go depressed. One of the reasons, I'm not saying that's the only reason, of course there are other reasons. Some people go dissatisfied, unhappy, because they have been trying to expand themselves and their understanding and their quality of their life through physical means only. And in relationships, they hit the plateau, they think there's something wrong with themselves, or they match up, even though they had few good years and they were compatible, and they've gone over the fact that they are actually suitable and they're a good match. But then even the good matches stop and they divorce or get separated. Why? Because they're always trying to get their connection and the expansion and their relationship advanced through their physical entity, and ignoring totally the possibility of getting to know each other mentally, on psychological level, on consciousness level, understand each other's fear and desire and ego, what the role of the ego is, how they're interacting with each other, even their physical pleasures or physical satisfaction or dissatisfaction. What does ego and fear and desire have to do with their dissatisfaction, contentment, or lack of it in their relationship, in their physical relationship? So that's why relationships are totally incomplete. The two people that say they are in a relationship, what kind of relationship? Only physically. You just look pretty and you think that should bring a continued excitement every day. It wouldn't. like anything else. Pretty much, it becomes like the car you drive. You sit there, you drive. You're not really focused on how electronically genius this car is, how it works. You're oblivious to it. You just sit and drive it. You have only thinking about one function of it, which is the driving you, but you're not focusing on the amazing technology that's gone into it and what other things you can do. Well, maybe that's not a good good example, but maybe we can talk about computers. If you only look about how the computer looks like, rather than the programs that it can run, and so you'll be very bored with it right away. But if you focus on all these abilities and things you can write and things you can program, things you can make the computer, consult you with and provide to you all the connection that has, all the things that makes it work, and use that to expand your knowledge. If you look at it that way in your relationship, there's so much more in a relationship than the part that you say, I'm not that excited. Ask yourself, why? What have I been looking that I haven't been finding treasures that makes me feel not excited? Have I really been looking at her? Do I really know her? Or did I call her the love of my life, but I really didn't know that I was just talking about the lust of my life? And that's why it became limited, and after a while, that lust became a default, nothing exciting, because everything physical has a duration. Even the excitement about the sex with someone that you really, really think she's all that, it can also get to a plateau if you're only focusing on the physical connection. And the fact that there's no more challenge. You got it. A human being is so, it's got lack of confidence by nature. There's constantly comparing himself or herself to the others, to the other things, based on how their posture is, what they have, what they look. They question themselves, and they don't realize that it has what they look and what they have has nothing to do what kind of a attraction they could have, or what kind of a human being they are, what quality of a personality and what quality of the energy they're offering to the world and to the whole universe and to the others, and what really makes other people be attracted to them. It's got nothing to do with that. But they're only focusing on comparing themselves with things, others, as if they're in constant mission of affirmation and confirmation. They need that. They need people to like them, and they can't be satisfied with if one person likes them. They want to now say, okay, this is done. Let me go and see if other people will like me too, because I'm not sure of myself. So I break this relationship, go somewhere else, see if another woman also gives me the time of the day or not. Or vice versa. The girls do that to see if some other guy will also, pays attention to them. In that way, they evaluate themselves. So the whole idea of you thinking this way or that way, through judging your relationship only by physical characteristics, it will always end up somewhere that you say, I'm not sure now. Both men and women, they get to the point, because their lack of understanding of how they're made and how their partner is made, and they never try to actually explore to learn each other thoroughly, they think that's the end of who the other one is or who they are. It's like you have a 12-volume storybook, and you read one, and the book ends, finish this volume, and you say, there's nothing else to know. Well, there are other volumes. That is all there. The same thing. There are many volumes in the consciousness level to understand from each other, to learn from each other, to explore life together on that basis. But all you do, you look at the volume of the physical being, and then you get tired of it, because there's not much more after the book of the physical part of you finishes. There's no more. The rest of the volumes is about your mind and other abilities, other things that has shaped you. Your fears, your desire, your ego, your thoughts, your consciousness, your order, your mechanical process, what you're in pursuit of, your way of trying to attain psychological security. All these things is some of the volumes that is in there that everyone seems to be oblivious to it, and only judges the relationship based on how good of sex it was, or how compliance she was, or what she thinks what the guy provided her, what kind of diamond ring, or what kind of, he bought her, or where places they went. And they think life is all about these limited physical things. And that's why their relationship seems limited. Because they're looking at it, gauging it, and pricing it, and valuing it by physical things which are all limited. Therefore, their value of their partner becomes to an end, a limited end, a limited point. But if they see the unlimited part of the partner, which is the invisible part of the iceberg that we just talked about, then the valuation of that girl or that guy, whatever your relationship is, becomes something that continuously can grow. And then you will not think, oh, you got to the end of the volume 12, and now there is nothing more. You'll never get there. The volumes will continue. That's how human mind and human existence is. But nobody really explores it, do they? You just try to get your cues, clues, and answers of all these, that what makes a human being to be the entity that they are, through your limited physical, visible and physical experiences. The physical pleasures. How pretty she is, what she wears, where you guys go, how you have sex, how many times, did she come, did she not come? The whole question is, can I make her come? Am I the best? All about physical. Your questions, you're trying to look for answers, all physical places in your relationship. I am telling you, trying to suggest to you, don't listen to me, see it inwardly, feel it if what I'm saying is true or not, and is it warranted to go further in seeing what is the characteristics of the woman that you're with, how far, how deep that is. Is it an ocean, or is it just finished by the time you got to the shore, beginning of the ocean water? Just tip your toes in and say, okay, it's too deep now, that's it, that's the end of it, I'll go out. But if you're prepared how to swim, you could explore further in that ocean of the consciousness of your woman or your man. And you will get to know so many wonderful places that you can go in this relationship, rather than just sitting and wondering. Because your ability is limited in a physical part of the relationship, you think the relationship is not good enough, or is ended, or can't go any further. It's like saying you're playing chess and your abilities to play chess is only knowing few openings. The King's Gambit, or the Queen's Gambit, or the English opening, or Sicilian. And then you wonder, that's chess, that's it? That's so limited. I mean, but you are stopping at that level of knowledge about billions of possibilities and variations of these openings and many other openings. That is in chess. But when you then discover it and go further to learn it, you think that's what chess is all about. Finished. All the possibilities, defenses and attacks, and all finished. But there's so many, hundreds and hundreds of books written on it, and different variation of different openings and different responses, and where it's going to go is unlimited. But if you treat your relationship as if it's a chess game with only a few openings, and that's the limit of it, then you will think chess is a boring game. Then you'll think your relationship is ended or is boring, can't go anywhere. It's not that. It's because you don't know any more knowledge, expertise of that game. You can go into a soccer field and kick the ball, but you're not a football player. You are in that level. But if you keep yourself in that level, you think, well, that's what soccer is. I'm not really that interested because I can't do much with it. But the ones who have experienced more and practiced more, and they're far skillful in that, you can see what amazing possibilities and qualities of game can happen. So it's not really just a relationship, it's also how far you've learned and you've been able to go into that relationship, swim into that ocean. And for that, you need to be more aware, skillful, thoughtful, and more knowledgeable about your abilities. And your abilities is not limited to your physical portion. understand the entirety of you is mind and body. We're all focused and accustomed to live life through our body and see the world through our physical entity. But as you spend so much time and effort to shape this body, you go to the gym and learn things and pleasure physical things and focus on that, you also got to focus on learning the other part of you, so together you will be complete. Your mind part, your energy part, your thoughts, consciousness, how they're put together, how they come about, how they're created, your desires, how that comes about, your fears. What is fear all about? You know, I had a seminar in one of the local universities a couple of years back. The End of Fear. That video exists. Go and check it out. Learn about the relationship between your thoughts and fear, how it acts and reacts and makes you see things and affects you, even affects your physical abilities through your mind. And then you got to know about your ego. What is that? What is the relationship of all these things together? Then you know yourself, and then you will know how much then there is in your girlfriend, in your partner, to go and to know. And then you won't think it's all that boring. Okay, I hope that was something for you to think about. Now, let's see. Gee, I must have talked for so while. I didn't even notice so many people joined us. Okay, so Sonny, I hope that was that was an answer for you. Now you're sorry you asked, huh? Robert says, I mean, they make it difficult for us to help us to wake up. Just watch TV, for example. There's a lot of garbage conditioning us every day. True? Blissful Elixir says, hello dear. Good to see you. Oh, I missed something here. Robert says, Mehran, I have a question. Do you think also the politics or those who are in charge want to keep people's mind under control? Of course, no doubt about it. They move the trainer, your thoughts, and create something that should not be so focused on to become a focus of people in the world, so they could have, whatever agenda they have. Of course. So now we go to Tawfiq says, hi Mehran. Hello Tawfiq. Hope you're doing well. How do I face my cheating ex when we run into each other because we study at the same campus? Huh. Tawfiq says, the advice you gave me yesterday helped me a lot to be strong enough to move on. Thank you so much. You're quite welcome. Well, Tawfiq, how do you think you should face your cheating ex? What do you want from it? Why do you have to do anything? What else do you want other than the perfect information about her through her action, which helped you save that relationship that you were wasting your time on? So now you're free, knowing that wasn't the right girl. So why do you have to feel apprehensive to face her? You do your thing, you do your studies. Don't pay attention to what she's doing. Just, she's in a classroom, so she is. Why do you have to worry about facing her? She has to feel ashamed that she was in a relationship with you and still went on with another guy without telling you that this is how she wants to continue this relationship, not exclusive, and she just wants to do this. If she didn't have the guts to tell you to break up with you first and then go with somebody else, that's fine. Everybody's choice, no problems. But if somebody doesn't clear these things up and then still goes and, you know, does that, then that means what? She doesn't have character to show what she wants or what she's all about or what she's interested. And then now that you know about it, why should you be sad? You should be happy that you know about this, because then you wouldn't spend more energy on that. So what's there to be apprehensive about it? You know, it's like saying, how do I face the thief that, you know, burglarized my home? Well, now everybody knows, and you know it, and you will make sure that the doors are secure so this thief cannot come in again. That's it. You have no other responsibility. You don't have to tell the thief, you bad thief, you son of a bitch, why did you come? No, that's a thief. It's a thief. And now you know it, so you just, you know, lock the door when you're not home. And when you're home, just don't open the door. Simple. So there's nothing there, Tawfiq, for you to worry about. You do your things, do your life. She's not the boss of your life, and she's not anything. Your desire thinks that, oh, she went with somebody else. That means I'm not as good as the other one because she chose that one over me. Well, who is she? Who died and left her in charge to be the judge of people's worth and value depending on who she chooses to sleep with? Where is that? Where did that come from? How did she become that important? So you can see that what you're concerned about is really nothing. No concern should be there. Move on, live your life, do your things. Don't pay attention to her. You know, it was a relationship. Okay, she was with you, then she did this, and then you say, okay, you did this, I don't want you. That's it. That's the only thing. That is no reflection on you. What she does is not a reflection on you, your worth or value or whatever. Respect yourself. Don't let things be turned around on you just because you're seeing again everything in this life through who you sleep with, who she sleeps with you or she sleeps with somebody else. That sets out your value or worth. So that's it. Everything you have come to be in this world because of how you were raised and what you have accomplished and all the things that you went through is all on the balance, hanging on the balance of some girl decides to sleep with you or somebody else, and that turns you upside down. All that whole life thing is based on who she puts, she offers her sexuality to. That's it. That's it. That's all you're about. She sets the tone for your value. Come on now. There's so many other wonderful women out there that you haven't even met yet. You're just in school. Chill out. Be happy that you found this out, and now, you know, you didn't spend more energy and time on her. The characteristics of a relationship is not just ended when you guys choose each other. You still will see how each behaves, and on that note, you will decide, should I continue or should I not? It's like something that you know, there's a building you lease to open your store. And at the end of the year that the lease is up, or you say, well, let me assess it. This property is leaking, it's got a problem, the doors are not so well hinged and locked, and security is not good, and the area is not so I don't want it anymore. I'll go somewhere else and lease another space. But if it was good, you will say, okay, I will lease it for another year. So a relationship is the same. It doesn't end, the process selection doesn't end when you guys join and choose each other. It also depends on how you behave through the relationship. That's why many relationships comes to an end, depending on one or both's behavior or interaction or lack of compatibility. And that's the same thing. Why do you think a relationship, as soon as you guys choose each other, should be forever? It's not constant. It's the most dynamic thing. You guys, your consciousness is changing through the day, all the time, 24/7. And some of these changes, effects of the happenings of life, could affect you in such a way that you will change your character and no longer is suitable to your partner. And then that's the time the partner notices, and then you move. Well, she wasn't like this. She wasn't cheating before. She changed, or something changed, and she decided to do that. Now, on that basis of new information, she's disqualified. Would you choose her if you knew she's been doing that with her other boyfriends before you guys became a couple? No, you wouldn't. You got together because you thought that you guys are exclusive, and that's how it was. And as long as it was like that, it lasted and it was fine. But when she changed, well, just like if you had known this is her character before you guys would get together, you would say, no, I don't want this girl because she has this kind of a behavior, you know, in her relationship. She's not loyal. She doesn't commit to one relationship. She's not exclusive. So I don't want it. Now that you guys have been together for a while, now she's like that. So for the same reason, you will look at it as if you're just beginning to get to know each other or trying to see if you're suitable for each other or not, match up or not. And you say, no, for that reason, I'm out. For that reason, she's disqualified. So if she is, what's there for you to be worried about? Just interact with her like you know her another student. That's all. You don't have to think anything further than that. All right. Blissful X years, Mehran, Cleo Lee here. Hello, Cleo. Toronto. Oh, another Torontonian. How to proceed in a relationship with a man that is emotionally closed off? Well, you don't have a mandate to open everybody who's emotionally closed off. If he's not ready, what the hell is he doing with you? Why is he there to waste your time? If he's not emotionally open, why do you want him? You have to ask this question. Many women think that they got to fix something. Like many men think that they've got some machine is not working, they got to fix it. Even though if they're not specialists, they try to fix it. Well, that's how we are. We want to fix things. And women think that their expertise and interest is to fix in men. Instead of saying, listen, if it doesn't have the characteristics, flexibility, the things that you want in the man that you're interested in, why would you start a relationship with? Or you start a relationship and see that the person is rigid, not flexible, and not emotionally healthy. Then you try, communicate, explore, and you try together and bring this question up, discuss it. And when you have discussed it and done this over and over and exhausted the possibilities, and you see the level of cooperation and interest from the other side, from his side. If it was going well, great. If it wasn't and it's closed, you eventually say, okay, that's exactly like if I was going to choose this person and I would know that this person is not emotionally healthy, why would you get in there? But you do get in there because of other pleasures, the physical pleasures or intimacy or the comfort that you would receive or the company that you would have in other levels, but you don't necessarily focus on every aspect of this person. And then when you see it, you've already been conditioned through other benefits that you receive from that relationship, and it would be hard for you to simply sever it. But if you would give it the same kind of a credibility or importance as any other pleasure that you receive from this relationship, then you would say, well, this is detrimental. It can't let the relationship go any further. Therefore, I just don't want to have anything to do with it, because why should I keep trying to open a jar that can't open? Eventually, I simply put it back and go buy another jar of pickles. Let's leave it at that. I hope that's something for you to think about. Petr says the biggest mistake is that everyone makes comparisons between the one that he or she has now and the one that one had before. A big mistake, isn't it, Mehran? Of course, because you're not seeing the person that you're with. You're perceiving the person based on the experiences you had with somebody else, another relationship before in your memory. So now you see her, and certain things about the past relationship comes to your mind because you had a relationship and now you have a new girlfriend, and suddenly all that characteristics and behavior and the story, soap opera, whatever it was, experiences comes to mind, because this is also called relationship. That one was called relationship. So that relationship comes in here and covers it up, and you don't see what this relationship could be. You don't even see her because you're constantly comparing her with what the ex-girlfriend was like. And you say, oh, she's better here, or she's not. With the disadvantage of this one is at the disadvantage, the new one, is because you have had time and experiences that you explored with the ex, and that element of time brought conditioning in your mind with her in that relationship, and gives her a preference because of the energy that you spent and the energy that you invested in that relationship, the time passed, and many different kind of activities and situations that you explored and negotiated and interacted in together. And all that has created certain emotional files and energy and background and history, which brings the familiarity, which brings psychological security, which, because it had created a certain order for you, which you're used to that order, a certain mechanical process, which you're used to that mechanical process. We've talked about order and mechanical process in other videos. If you can go and key in mechanical process or order, you will have some videos that you can see what I'm talking about if you're not aware of it. And then because of all that, order, mechanical process, and time and exploration of different activities and situations and negotiation of life, and all that has become a default in you, you cannot compare. It's not fair to compare her to this person. It's not fair to this person, this new one. Why? Because you through the exchange of energy and different scenarios, you get to become a part of your consciousness, and that part of your consciousness, it hasn't been created with this new one, so you will be biased, against this new one, because you have a feeling, certain kind of file, a background with that other girl. And even though this one would be prettier, but you will also focus on the characteristics and interchange and interaction you guys had with each other, with your ex, and it kind of overrules whatever you like about this new girl, or you might like about this new girl, because that whole thing doesn't let you see this girl as she is. You only perceive her as she is, using the information experience you had in your consciousness with the ex, which suddenly you constantly see her with the information of the past about your ex with this girlfriend, and then you wonder, why is she not the same? Because you expect her to be fitting the role that you're giving her by perceiving her based on your experience with your ex. And you see her reality and actuality. When you come to it, you see it's not her, then you get disappointed. You think she's something wrong with her. But instead, put that past aside, see her with the now, knowledge of now, not with the past, not with the eye of the past. You're looking at her with the eye of the past, and you won't be able to see what and who she is and how she can bring new, fresh ideas and interaction and quality to this relationship. All right. Sonny says, I feel that the excitement in the past has come from a girl that I can't have. Yeah, okay, yeah. How do I stop thinking this way? Only wanting something that I can't have. Just remember, bring your attention to the fact that the things that you can't have will become the things that you do have. Because if you say, I don't necessarily like the things I have, I always liked something that I didn't have, then that thing that you didn't have and you don't have right now, always remember, when you have it, then no longer it is a thing that you don't have. And if that's your criteria, you will never like anything. But also understand the things that you didn't have, and now you end up having that thing that you didn't have, it doesn't mean that you have now conquered it or have it, because having is to understand it. But you don't understand the person just because you have a relationship with that person. There's a lot more to that person than what you see and what you feel physically of that person. So knowing that, it helps you to know that you are with that person, but you still don't have her because you don't know her. And there's so much to know. So you can always keep this feeling of, I don't have her. Therefore, you will always then have enough reason to want to pursue her So that relationship will never become stale or in the category of you calling it, oh, I have her and I don't want her because I always want something that I don't have. This relationship will always be about being with the girl that you actually don't have because you don't know her. There's so much to know about her. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. You have to have that understood in your mind, that just because you have a relationship with this girl and you're boyfriend, girlfriend, that doesn't mean you know her. And the reason that you want to have something that you don't have is because you want to have something that you don't know. When you understand that the girlfriend that you're with, you don't know, that you will always want to be with her. But if you think that you know her, which you don't, because there's so much to her more than the physical appearance and connection that you guys have, the minute you think that you know her, then you don't want to have her. You think you want something else that you don't have, because something else that you don't have is something that you don't know about. But when you realize the girl that you're with is actually the person that you don't know about, then that would also represent to you that you don't have this girl that you're with. And that will motivate you to actually continue and enjoy the relationship, because you will never know her completely. Therefore, you will never have her the way you think that you have her. So you don't want her, and you want something that you don't know or you don't have. I hope it was confusing enough, but on that basis, we go on to Paul. Says, hello, Mehran. Hello, Paul. Paul says, since I was last time here, I got the motivation to take care of my body. Good for you. Paul says, thank you. Your talks help me. I'm delighted to hear that. Which, you know where I'm going to go from here. I'm going from here. I'm going now. Share the videos that you like in your social media. Promote the site mind@6truth.com. Check out the site. Pick up the book of Me, My Psyche, and I for your reference in your library. It's very cheap, so it's not a monetary objective here. But it is something that I want everybody to have. It's got lots of information, good stuff in there. And 360 pages, lots of deep stuff in there. And for $5.99, I think you can afford not have a coffee one day, or at least one of the few coffees that you have during the day, or teas, and get that book. And share the videos that you like. So now that I plugged it, let's go to Daniel. Daniel says, oh, talking to Petr, okay. Colin Hansen says, what do you do when you mess up the relationship and it's all your fault? Recognize it, own it, and if you think it's necessary to discuss it with her, discuss it and learn from it. And if she's not willing to continue it, then that's her prerogative, and respect that, because you know it was your fault. But he continues, says, I know she will never date me again. So other than just move on, what technique can I use? Nothing. Write an essay on that relationship, on what you think it was your fault. Just write it for you. It doesn't have to be sending it to her. You don't have to email it to her. You don't have to mail it to her. Just write it. Write what you just think you recognize that it was your fault. Write what you want to say about it, what you did or what you think it was your fault, how you want to discuss it, and say the points that you want to say. Like if you're talking to her, you write that letter, and then every time you feel a little bit kind of apprehensive about, oh, I didn't do good there, read that letter that you wrote. It frees you and helps you to get that emotion out, and then you will be fine and ready to go. And it's like you've already discussed it with her. So, and other than that, don't worry about it. Learn from it and go on. It's not, you haven't killed anybody, for God's sake. I mean, you just messed up in a relationship. As long as you don't physically or emotionally abuse a woman, you know, be unkind to her, you know, bring hardship to her, then the rest of it is just, a relationship doesn't work. Okay, you not match. Okay, or you weren't mature enough, or you were more mature than she was, or you were a different stage of life. These are all fine. These are what relationship is. Just make sure you don't ever raise your hand on a woman, ever. If there's a danger, you just simply run away. If she's coming at you with a knife or something, then you can defend yourself, of course. But then you go and, call the authorities, call the police. I mean, if it comes to that bad. But never, ever, 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 did I say ever? Ever raise your hand on a woman or a child. Never. You're supposed to be protective of women and protective of children. And that's it. The rest of it you learn from it. Don't create fear. Don't become mentally abusive to women or children. Don't yell at them, scream at them. You want to be angry civilized. Bring your anger in your words of discussion. Bring it into points. Deliver a point. Because anger doesn't do anything with the children or with anyone that you're in a relationship with. All it does, it makes them feel, realize, or see, right or wrong, that they've done something wrong, in your opinion. When you yell at the child or yell at your partner, that's all you're doing. But the child doesn't know why it was wrong, or your girlfriend or your boyfriend doesn't know why it was wrong in your opinion, because in their mind, if they're not abusive or didn't have any malice in mind, when a person does something, he or she believes that that decision is correct. So they really didn't think that it was incorrect when they did it, barring the negative people who mean harm to people. We're not talking about them. We're talking about regular stuff. And people who don't have any malice in mind and they're positive, don't want to affect the society negatively. So if that's what that's a premise we go on, then at the time that he or she was, whatever it was that made you angry was doing, they believed it was correct. So by being angry, you're just expressing your dissatisfaction, but you're not really communicating what was it that to you was wrong. To the child or to your partner, to anybody, yeah? Communication is where actually helps to deliver and bring compatibility or understanding. And not the yelling. The yelling part anybody can do, And through the yelling part, really nobody can understand. Go in front of a lion or a mad cow or some wild animal or whatever it is, and see if you can understand when they're roaring at you or making loud noises. It just shows you that they're going to attack you and they're angry, but doesn't tell you anything. This is pretty much the same thing when you're yelling at a child or at your partner. He or she doesn't know what you're talking about. It's just anger. The emotion doesn't let them even focus on what it is that you're trying to communicate. So change your anger to delivering of the words to express why it is that it was dissatisfactory to you, to your children, or to your loved ones, with kindness, with proper tone of voice, and communicate. Express the feeling with proper words, not with violence. So as long as you haven't done any of these sort of bad things, inhumane things, uncivilized things, so it didn't work out, so you messed up. So what? You didn't kill anybody. Go on with your life. You don't have to now prove to her that I actually am better than that and I'm sorry. Why? Why do you want her recognition now? Well, if she was hanging around, then you would have been more than happy to explain and apologize or discuss it or explore it. But now that she's broken up and she doesn't want to date you anymore, so forget it. If the most is you write it down for yourself, and if you come to any kind of a situation with her, you can discuss it and express your feelings about how it went and all that. Otherwise, just write it and keep it somewhere. And if you were pissed off at it, you read it. Okay, it looks like you've already talked to her about it, and then you'll go on. Ashwin says, "Hi, Mehran. I've been feeling existential dread in the process of moving on. I have a sense of nothingness." Really? So all makes you be something is when you're between a girl's legs? And that's really where your whole life is summed up to? Vagina? Because that's all it is really. If you're telling me this, that you have a dreadful existential dread and you can't move on, why? What were you getting in that relationship? other than the fact that it was an experience with, you know, with love and excitement and intimacy and so on and so forth. And suddenly you've condensed your whole life to a relationship with a vagina, because that's really where you're going at. You didn't have a relationship with her, because if you had a relationship with her, you would have known her consciousness, and the relationship with her consciousness would be through your consciousness. Then you would have realized that the reason it broke up, it was because it wasn't compatible. You guys couldn't understand and bond on consciousness level, and it was called for to not to be together. But you don't have that relationship. You think you're devaluated because she's now going to go sleep with somebody else, or she's with somebody else, and then you feel the whole relationship was between you, your dick, and her vagina. That's all. And you're pissed off at this because your ego bothers you. They say, how could it be? That's demeaning. You're supposed... All that shit is what making you think you're nothing, because you think you get your worth and value from a physical experience with a girl that you had pleasure through intimacy. Otherwise, if you really want to be you know, objective, to you want to be really focused on why, then you will realize that you didn't know her. You had an image of yourself in your mind, and you had the image of her in your mind, and she had the image of herself in her mind, and she had the image of you in her mind, and these two images were interacting, having a relationship, and mostly on the basis of, you know, physical pleasures. And when these images didn't work because you guys didn't know each other's consciousness, and you didn't bond on consciousness level, then suddenly you think, oh, the hell has broken loose, because now I don't have that image I had of myself when I was with her. I don't have that image anymore, so I think I'm less. And I see that she wasn't what I thought she was in my mind. The image I had of her in my mind is not the image that I can see now she is, and I have in my mind of her. And all these makes you think that, okay, so I'm devalued. No, you never knew her, you didn't have a relationship with her, and now that it's not working, that proves that. So come out of that whole thing that you're thinking is the cause. It's not the relationship. It's that you didn't have a relationship, but you thought you have, because you only had the physical pleasure with her, or at least you were hoping to have, or you were focused on that, even if you didn't sleep with her. But that's where your focus of the relationship was. That's why it never worked. He says, nothing around me seems to be bothering me or making me feel better. It's scary sometimes. Yeah, I did. I just said, focus on what I just said and reason with it and understand. That is especially when people who come from, who've been raised in certain cultures, that this whole business of sex is so important. You know, countries like Iran and Pakistan and India and many other countries around the world, and even European countries, it doesn't matter. When you're, you know, when you focus and limit the relationship into the sexual parts, and you feed it on that notion, the idea of a relationship is the idea of intimacy for you only, and you only bond on that, then when you lose it, you've lost the pleasure, the physical pleasure that you were so into it, which we all are. And that becomes so important that you have lost it, because it's so wonderful to have that physical pleasure. And then you think, therefore, because now you don't have it, then something is terribly wrong. No, it's not. And you will have many others. So chill. I hope that's something for you to focus on. Ashwin. A. Zimmerman says, hello, female, 24 years old, from Australia. Oh, hello. From the land down under. So are you now talking to me upside down, hanging from the ceiling? Australia, I've heard a lot about it. It's so beautiful, and it's an amazing place, I hear. And she says, how do I stop obsessively desiring a guy who doesn't want to be with me anymore? I feel deep anxiety and dread about him not being in my life. How can I accept that I have to control, I have no control over someone else, and release all of this paralyzing anxiety that I might never see him again? Thank you for all your help. Your wisdom is a gift. I call you Alice because it's A. Zimmerman, because it's too long every time I want to say Zimmerman. Alice, you're in Wonderland. You're making the guy too much. You see, for female is different. When they're 24, 25, they kind of feel like traditionally, by default, they have inherited this idea of that they're a full-grown woman at age 18, and they think that they should have fulfilled this role, traditional role, and what is traditionally has become a default programming in them, that to be married by age, 24, 22, 25, depending on where you come from, or 26, and then have children by age, 30 or 30 so, because they feel, even though if they may not be aware of it, but they feel there's a clock ticking, biological clock ticking. And when they find a guy that they like, they envision that guy in a different role other than just a boyfriend in a relationship. They take this story to where they want it to go, and they go and create a family in their mind and children and so on and so forth. So now they have given a certain idea and knowledge and image of this relationship beyond than what it is. So when you have lost this relationship, you don't think that you lost your boyfriend. You actually think you lost that image and the story, that scenario that you had put together throughout this relationship in your imaginations, because that's what you wanted it to be. And now that had been encapsulating this relationship, and now that it's not no longer, you think that is what you lost. That was an illusion that you had created. It is not what you lost. You only lost a boyfriend. A boyfriend who wasn't willing to carry on this role in your theater, which disqualifies the guy. Why would you want an actor to act in your theater who's not qualified, can't read the lines, and can't have the right posture and facial expressions and interaction with the audience as the role that he's given? Why would you want to hire that guy? Same thing here. You had created him into certain kind of a role in that scenario that you have envisioned for yourself. And now that it is not working, instead of realizing that he's not qualified for this role, to take any leadership in this role or have that role, to be given and hired for that role, instead of realizing that, you're just thinking that you have actually lost the vision. You've actually lost that image. You actually lost that scenario. You didn't. This guy ended up not being qualified. He failed the audition. Boyfriend-girlfriend time is an audition. And often, they don't pass each other's audition. And that has no reflection on them, really. It just means that they weren't equipped for that role. They had lesser expectations. So, you be jubilant that you found out the actor that you were actually going to open on Broadway and was going to expand and advertise all over the world for it, actually turned out that you know that this actor is not qualified. Otherwise, you would be terribly, terribly disappointed when the actual opening day would come and he would bomb it. He would mess up the actual storytelling role in that theater. Just imagine how wonderful it is that you know that this doesn't work, rather than you would have actually not seen it and insisted and actually married the guy and tried to create that picture, and then the guy eventually lets go, because every structure has a certain kind of a stress level, and you keep that weight on it. It may hold it for a while, looks like it's holding, looks like it's the right material, but eventually, if it's not the right stress level, it's not, stiff enough, it's not the correct material for it, eventually collapses. Is it not better to know that this wasn't going to hold the building, hold the ceiling? and you saw it collapse right now than when it actually had built that house or whatever it is that you were going to construct. So go be jubilant, girl, and don't be stupid. Understand that you've got so much possibilities, abilities. Age 24, you're so young right now, you don't even know what you want in a man. Other than the fact that you feel important because you have a boyfriend, and then, you know, maybe they, I don't know, open the door for you or pull the chair, and that's the extent of it, that you feel like you're a woman now. Get on with your career, build your life, become independent, that you don't have to suck up to your future husband for a little bit of money here and there, and you become self-sufficient. Then on that basis of not needing for things that you can provide for yourself, then you go and choose, see who qualifies in the theater that you want to open up on Broadway. So, hope that would help you out, Alice, and hope that will get you out of the wonderland and put you in control of your life. And what you focus on is not to be in control of people, be in control of your own psyche and understanding what your life should be like, and get the clues to create and bring about better qualities and better ingredients for the life that you want to build, rather than just, let's build it regardless of how long it stands up when it collapses. Let's just build it. That's the mistake, not what you're going through right now. Okay, EJ says, it is superficial to feel good about your good looks. Is it superficial to feel good about your good looks? No, it's good to feel good about your good looks. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you think that's all you are, or that's all somebody is, that's a mistake. Because then the good looks eventually becomes not a novelty anymore, a facts of life, something you will be used to it, and you won't even notice it that much, but you will notice what's making that good looks tick. Inside of that good look will never end to amaze you if it's full of shit, and it will be painful. So it's okay to enjoy the good looks, but it is also important to know that the good looks is not the limits that you should expect. And what makes that entity, physical entity, function is where you should focus to find quality as well, or to be meeting your standards as well. EJ says, after breakup, I worked out and got into the best shape ever. Okay, that's good. Whenever I'm sad, I look in the mirror and say, girl, you're looking fine. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. And move on with my wonderful day. Well, perfect. What's wrong with that? Is there a question in there? No, that was it? Okay, well, that's good news. Perfect. Perfect. And now, the way you can make it even better is by going to my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, and pick up the book that is called Me, My Psyche, and I. Then you will have the inside of you, the consciousness, what makes you tick, what makes that figure that you have built tick, also in shape, and then you have a total combination of a perfect package with a lot more confidence that just the look and the fitness could give you. There was another plug. Now go deal with it, guys. Sunny said, thanks, Mehran, for your amazing explanation. Good. Put it to work and share the videos that you like. I will be cutting some of these question answers, trim them into one video on itself. And if you guys like it, share them. Let the others also enjoy it and learn from it and focus on it, and at the same time promote the channel and help us to grow. Everybody, do like the channel, like the stream right now before it's too late, before you forget, before I say goodbye, which I don't know, in short few minutes. And then also make sure that the videos that you watch, you make comments, how you feel about it, how it's been helpful to you. And please don't forget to go to the video that I put there. It says, has this channel been helpful to you? There is a 1.5 minutes or less than 2 minute video that it says, has this channel been helpful to you? Do go on it, like it, and make a comment how it's been helping you. Short thing, so it will help me to know how the channel, the contents are helping you, working, which I know you've already told me, thousands, but also I want it there in thousands. We only have what, 99, 100 people have gone on it, because then other people who want to join us and subscribe to the channel, this can be used as a testimony. They can look at it and see the value in this channel, that how many people have been helpful. And don't be lazy, go do it, so other people will also be encouraged to enjoy this channel and benefit from its content if you think it's worthwhile, which I know you do. Aso says, hey Sir Mehran, I went to the interview and it was hard. I don't really think I will pass. Okay, as long as you did your best, that's all it matters. They were asking lots of questions as if I were a professional worker while I'm just a student. Well, that's all right. They put the squeeze on you, but they just want to see how you perform under pressure, even though if it's about things that you don't know really well. But that's good. You did good. Don't worry. It's all gone. Just focus on your day now. That's past. You did your best, and that's all done. Also says, Mehran, I'm dating this new guy who is in legal age, about younger than me with 2 years. I'm 23, and he's 21. What do you think of that? Well, I don't know. I don't know what the guy is, and I don't even know how you are, because all I know here that you seem to be fun and kind and warm and, you know, nice, but that is all I can know. But you got to see what the guy is all about, how he behaves, how you guys are compatible on consciousness level, and use the attraction that you guys have from each other, with each other, towards each other, to get to know each other on a different level, a deeper level, and then you will see if it is or not. Otherwise, age-wise, well, you know, at this age, 21, 23, it's okay. You know, if you guys hit it off, all right, let's hit it off. But, you know, when you guys are, you know, even if it's like 30 and 33, you know, a couple of years here and there, usually it's okay. Usually it's, if girls usually like to go out with an older guy, like maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years older, depending on which age. Like at age 23, you should go out with the 21-year-old or 25-year-old, but not a 33-year-old. It's too old for you now at this age. But when you're 33, it's perfectly fine to go to, you know, with a guy that you like, that he might be 43 or 45-year-old. So that age difference can increase a little bit further down in your life. But at this moment, you know, 21, he is younger than you. It's okay. It's only a couple of years, few years. And, you know, 25, 26, 27, it's okay. But further than that is a little bit too far off for you. Perhaps. Maybe not. Maybe 33 and 23 is still okay, depending on the characters and what you guys have in mind, and so on and so forth. Now, also says, Mehran, what do you think of interracial relationship? What's wrong with that? It's not like asking me, what do you think about somebody marrying another person from a different planet? Because we don't know what they are, how the characteristics is. But here, we're all human, so what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Interracial is all about what? Skin color, facial structure, what? Body type? What else? What does that have to do with the quality of life? Nothing. Relationship is all about how you guys interact on consciousness level, how you bond on consciousness level, how you deal, interact, and exchange and interact with the negotiate the challenges of life, which is all done by consciousness, by your smarts, your thoughts, your fears, desires, and ego. Based on all that is how you negotiate life. You don't negotiate life with your skin or your face, how you look like, how tall you are or not, or how fat you. It's all humanity. Who you are is inward. is in your psyche, is in your center, how you're put together, how your consciousness is put together. What's the field of the known, your consciousness? What's the content of your consciousness? How you deal with your ego, fear, and desire. How the relationship between your thoughts and consciousness is. That's what you are. That's where the center is. That's who you are. Not how you look like, what color your skin is, or your hair is, how much hair you have or you don't have. It's just not, you're not focusing on what you're all about, where the powers are. Power is never in the physical attributes or characteristics, is what makes that physical entity tick, work, act, react, and function. And what makes that physical characteristic get engaged in based on what information, what commands, what actions, interactions, and the approach that it has toward what it is that is negotiating, even physically. But the commands all come from the non-physical part of you. So you focus on the worth and value of a human and qualification of that person, that human, based on that, not on what race it is, or what color, or how it looks. Okay, I guess you get the point. Tiffany, hello, Tiffany. Pet says, we'd all like to be certain of what we know, but I think the most important question is to ask yourself, do you really know what you know? Okay. Yeah, knowledge is always limited. So what you really, knowledge and ignorance goes hand in hand. Because when you know something, you think you know it. But yet, that is a limited knowledge of what you think you know. There's a lot more to it, which you stop it because you think you know it. And these are things you shouldn't fall into it. And before I get you really confused, I go on to the next one. And Aso says, Mehran, how to balance maturity in relationship if he is more mature than me? Well, just, catch up. It's like you're running beside somebody who's running faster than you. What do? You'll be encouraged to run a little bit faster. So you expand yourself so that you become a little bit more mature. So focus on what you can learn from that catapult or that situation, what can encourage you and how you can close the gap a little bit. Not just gap to that person, gap to where you can be, how far you can know, how more mature you can be at a given time. So you're kind of always trying to close that gap on that basis. Sandy says, good evening, Mehran. I hope you're well. Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, I've been, talking my head off here. I think it's time for me to have a banana. Bob says, Bob's back for more. Okay, Bob. I hope you've been listening because I've talked my head off and I'm really ready to say good night to you guys all. Bob says hello, heartbroken peps people, I guess. Layla says, okay, Layla's talking to Bob. And Layla says, hi, say hello, Layla. How are you? And A. Zimmerman says, Alice says, thank you so much for your wisdom. It does help. I also love the name Alice. And you should definitely come to visit Australia. I sure do. Actually, Alice, I do have some hope that I may actually be in Australia, but I don't know when, because the Big Smoke, which I know you are aware of their presence as a reputable medium there, did an interview with me a couple of years back, elaborate interview, which actually it's on my Facebook page. If you just, or if you go on, oh, I don't know, maybe I can put the link here before I go, and you can read that interview. And they have expressed their interest to invite me to Australia for one of their conventions if and when it happens. And I look forward to that opportunity. I think I would get to meet lots of new people and be able to deliver my message and share with them things that it could be of some interest to them as well. Rob says, I have to go. Thanks for the time. You're welcome. Wisdom. Always a pleasure to learn from you. My pleasure, Rob. Thanks for being here. And thanks for your comments on the videos that you view. I notice them and I appreciate them. Ayush says, thank you, sir. See you again. Okay. Bob says, I'm still working. Okay, it's talking to Leila. Okay, good. All right, now let me see if you guys don't forget to click like before you go. And let me see if I can put that what is it, that interview up for you guys with the biggest smoke from Australia. I will give it to you in a very quick moment. One moment. That's now 2 moments. So hang in there, Alice. Especially you, I want you to check it out. Okay. Posts. Now the question is, you guys gotta hang in there till I get to it, because that's gonna be a while. I wish there was a way to actually just go through the search of a certain post, and then you can search it and it will come out. In the meantime, just one moment, guys. Does anybody know another way to actually search something?
Go on YouTube. Mehran Dadbeh. I even recommend writing that down. Mehran Dadbeh. Okay? His channel's called BreakUps. Mehran Dadbeh. He's got 682 videos, and this guy literally helped save my life 2 years ago. I went through a horrible breakup, and it was really, really rough. I felt terrible about myself. I just felt like I was unlovable and just some horrendous piece of shit. And anyways, he has, whatever is going through your mind, he has a video about it, okay? Legitimately, whatever you might be feeling, he has a video about it, and he has such an incredible way of describing it. He's just like, the way that he talks about everything. Look at the title, the types of the videos. Look at the titles of the videos. I have a different religion than my girlfriend. She changed religions. What do I do after hitting rock bottom? You miss your ex because of this. I feel guilty for how I treated my ex. I have a new love, but due to past, I want to run. And then the ones that I followed 2 years ago. See if I can find some of those. Let's see. Can someone be so much in love to actually become lovesick? How to know if you found your soulmate? how to deal with self-esteem. He just has these incredible videos, man. I gotta see if I want to go a bit further back because you gotta see some of his older videos to really appreciate it. Yes, good, AJ, seriously, man. And this is for anybody else, too, who might be going through breakup angst, guys. Please, look at this guy's videos and scroll back through this. Okay, here we go. This is the sort of thing. So Valentine's Day, that's a great one. I watched it on Valentine's Day because it was like around then. Anyways, okay. You see that I've watched this one. Why you have a hard time letting go. Why you want her back. How to move on after a breakup. She cheated on me and I love her. I want her back. Do you miss your ex? The new order. Who you are? What are you missing?
Well, okay, guys, I can't find it, so I'm just gonna say goodbye. So I'm sorry. I will find it and put the link up next time. So in the meantime, thank you for being here, guys. I love you all. Thank you for giving me your time, and I appreciate it. And I hope to talk to you soon. In the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.